Have you ever heard of Sherman Ranch? The place in Utah that's famous for reported sightings of cryptids, creatures, and paranormal beings. Maybe you know it by a different name. Welcome to Skinwalker Ranch. Sherman Ranch became a household name after a series of UFO sightings in the 1970s. However, there is another thing the ranch is known for, and that's the presence of what the Navajo call skinwalkers. According to legend, skinwalkers are evil, shape-shifting witches. Little is known or understood about them, as Navajo people do not often share these legends with non-Navajo people. While some claim this is because they wish to keep their culture to themselves, many believe there may be a different reason. What little is known about skinwalkers is usually shared in hushed tones. It's clear that there's an air of fear or concern when it comes to these things. They're often associated with death and bad omens. They are considered sacred, almost as if uttering their name will summon them upon the speaker. The stories associated with skinwalkers paint them as cunning shapeshifters, roaming the land as animals such as coyotes, and even occasionally possessing other people. This deceptive nature, combined with their use of dark magic, has led the Navajo who are willing to speak about the matter with outsiders to give only one piece of advice. Avoid skinwalkers at all cost, and if you do encounter one, run. While some believe creatures were once human, not everyone agrees. Descriptions of skinwalkers bearing a monstrous form when they are not in the skin of another animal or person has led many to believe that they may be something else entirely. They are often said to have long, thin bodies, and while they can walk on two legs, they are typically spotted staying low to the ground on all fours. Their presence carries a terror unknown to many. Humans have been at the top of the food chain for so long, many of us do not have a name for what they feel when they come into contact with a skinwalker. However, ranchers and sportsmen have identified it as the feeling of being hunted. Skinwalkers will take the shape of an animal to go unseen or unnoticed, getting in close to their prey. The only thing everyone can agree on when it comes to these beings is that they are vicious killers. There are reports that they will perfectly imitate a human voice, attempting to lure people away by pretending to be an injured person. They are masters of deception, playing a game of divide and conquer with a single end goal: to kill. Whether they hunt for food or for sport is often debated, but in the end, the result is the same. Well, it seems they have made a home there and someone may be trying to cover it up. Skinwalker Ranch, as it is known colloquially, is a hotbed of supernatural and paranormal activity. UFO sightings go back at least to the 70s, but reports of poltergeist activity, cryptid sightings, and various aerial phenomena have been documented as long as the area has been settled. Former owners of the land have reported crop circles being found, as well as ghostly apparitions and orbs floating around the entire property. Even many who do not believe in the paranormal reports have claimed that being on the ranch, they have felt uneasy and nervous. Something is there, affecting everyone, whether they believe in it or not. Have you ever heard of the saying, "You may not believe in the devil, but the devil believes in you"? Well, that statement may be true, whatever is lurking on Skinwalker Ranch. In 2005, Colm Keller and George Knapp published a book, Hunt for the Skinwalker. In it, they detailed the acquisition of Sherman Ranch by Robert Bigelow in 1996 for the purpose of studying these reported phenomena. The previous owners, the Shermans, for whom the ranch is officially named, sold the ranch to Bigelow, who was the founder of the National Institute for Discovery Science. For Bigelow and NIDSci, this was a huge win. The Shermans sold the ranch for $200,000, well under what the 500-acre property was worth. Their sole interest seemed to be getting as far away as they could, as quickly as possible. As for NIDSci, they were interested in doing the opposite. They set up camp on the ranch and began documenting everything they encountered. An agent of the Defense Intelligence Agency then read Hunt for the Skinwalker and immediately requested permission to visit the ranch. The agent in question, Dr. James Lancatsky, experienced significant unexplained events and was immediately compelled to petition the American Department of Defense to invest resources into studying this area. $22 million of the national government budget was allocated towards the study, with the focus being on identifying the UFO and UAP reported in the area. However, the issue of identifying the Skinwalker seems to have also been quietly ushered into the study. With the financial backing of the US government and the expertise of the NIDSI researchers, the mystery of what was happening at Skinwalker Ranch was sure to be discovered. Or so everyone thought. For as many times as these creatures have been documented, they are surprisingly elusive. Their presence became hard to deny, given the increased documentation, but still difficult to prove. Members of the team began reporting short sightings of humanoid creatures with reflective eyes. The cattle mutilations that the Shermans had reported continued. Oh, we didn't mention the cattle mutilations? Yeah, one of the many reasons the Shermans were so keen on getting away from the ranch was that their livestock was continually going missing. Unfortunately, most of the time when they found the missing cattle, they had been brutally disemboweled. The weird part, as if cattle mutilations aren't weird enough, was that there was rarely any blood on the scene. With how aggressively these animals were being torn apart, one would expect a significant amount of mess. It was as if whatever was killing their livestock was somehow draining their blood before cutting them open. When Bigelow and his team began encountering these mutilations, the details remained consistent. The animals would be found torn open, with little to no blood being spilled. In one case, a cow was seen earlier in the day, only to be found dead and cut open in broad daylight mere hours later. While UFO activity is often associated with events such as these, Skinwalker Ranch is a unique case. Here we have documented sightings of a creature with bloodlust and the ability to feed on an animal in this manner. Many of the team members on the ranch, including Bigelow himself, believe these cattle deaths are not UFO related at all, but can be claimed by the Skinwalker or Skinwalkers who live somewhere on the property. So if we have all this documentation, why is Skinwalker Ranch not a bigger deal? Why is it not all over the news? 2 words: government investigation. It appears the government still has a vested interest in what happens both in the sky and on the ground at Sherman Ranch. It's no secret that the United States has invested a significant amount of money into understanding the paranormal, from declassified projects such as MK Ultra and the studies performed after Operation Paperclip to the rumors of Project Stargate and the Montauk experiments. The American government has a long history of secretly trying to explore the world of pseudoscience. There are many prevailing theories about what is going on at Skinwalker Ranch. It is hard to deny that something is going on there. But what exactly that something is might be a tough nut to crack. The most logical answer is that it is not one thing, but several. We'll definitely tackle the UFO and extraterrestrial claims made about the ranch at another time. But if we remove the elements that are most common in the recountings of UFO activity, we're left with an interesting set of data points. Even without taking into account the disturbing issue with the cattle, there's plenty for us to work with. The local legends are a good place to start. The Navajo have stories about skinwalkers that they are hesitant to share, but it is clear that they are not something to be messed with. They are violent, aggressive hunters with a mean streak. If we take these tales with a grain of salt, we can possibly say that perhaps the Navajo did see something that could change its shape, but due to their time in history, they did not have the means to explain or even understand what it was. Furthermore, the local tribes not only have these tales of shape-shifting creatures, but also have a distinct fear of the land itself. The land is said to be cursed by the Skinwalkers. Whether it's cursed because they live there or they live there because it's cursed is unknown. It may be possible that both statements are true. So the area is known to be home of some strange goings-on, even before the American ranchers and soldiers came to settle there. Police reports, newspaper articles, studies, and interviews have all documented sightings of unknown and unnerving creatures in the area, especially on the ranch. These reports vary somewhat, but the general image conjured by these reports remains steady through the years and from person to person. Perhaps this could be another case of people seeing something for which they have no words or frame of reference. What they can say about them is that they are terrifying, they can change their shape, and they can imitate sounds and voices with incredible accuracy. People also consistently report feeling on edge, nervous, or like someone's watching them while they're at the ranch. The feeling of being followed or spied upon is why so many people leave Skinwalker Ranch before they can even begin investigating the rest of the claims being made. Those who stick around long enough to investigate always walk away with a story. The US government feels so strongly about what happens on the ranch that they included a research grant in their budget for years, specifically earmarked for studying only Sherman Ranch. Whatever is going on there is important enough that the reports are still classified as of 2023, despite the NID side disbanding and selling the ranch in 2016. If there was nothing on the land, there would be nothing to classify. If it wasn't still relevant, there would be no reason to keep those reports classified. So clearly the government knows what's out there. For the time being, we can only speculate. With so many people involved being unable to share the extent of their experiences, we are left to attempt to put the pieces together based on what little they can say publicly. As for what skinwalkers actually are, that information also appears to be classified at the highest level. Are they shape-shifting creatures who have hunted humans for hundreds of years? Are they humans with supernatural powers? Or were they humans at some point? Are they even from our world? Given the UFO activity in the area, it remains a possibility, but no one can say for sure. So until the studies are declassified or someone breaks their silence, the true nature of the creatures at Skinwalker Ranch will remain a mystery. Thanks for watching.